Hello everyone, this is Mr. Informal bringing you a new thoughts, analysis, and rant. So today Apple actually had an event announcing the new Apple iWatch, additional software features, and also the new iPad and iPad Airs. So we're gonna talk about the new iPad Air 2020 and iPad 8th generation. So I'm just gonna call them Air and iPad. Going to give you my thoughts, analysis, and rant on these two. So let me give you my thoughts right now. Overpriced. If you have an iPad right now, don't buy one. If you want an iPad, wait for it to go on sale. Because once I read you the specs, you're absolutely going to be saddened or disappointed, especially if you are an Apple fan. Fanboy, fangirl, whatever it is. So, let's get to the specs. Okay? So, the Air has, has 10.9 inch screen and the iPad is 10.2. Both resolution 1640 by the Air has 1640 by 2360. The iPad has 1620 by 2160. But the pixel per inch are the same, 264. Both have scratch resistant glass with oleophobic coating. The Air has True Tone, wide color gamut, and 500 nits of brightness, while the iPad only has 500 nits. So certainly they are using different panels. The Air will come with the new CPU, Apple A14 Bionic, while the iPad will only come with the A12. It's absolutely disappointing. There is no card slot. Not only that, the Air will come in two options: 64 gigabits for $600, and the top of the line is 256 gig of storage for $750. That is quite expensive. The iPad will come with 32 gigs of storage at a price of $230. Yes, 32 gigs. You heard me. While the 128 gigs will come at $430. So the camera on the Air is 12 megapixels at 1.8, while the iPad is 8 megapixel at 2.4. And then on the front, the Air will come 7 megapixels at 2.0, while the iPad has 1.2 megapixels. That is laughable. Laughable. The Air will have stereo speakers with no headphone jack, while the iPad does come with stereo speakers and it comes with a headphone jack. Too much inconsistency here. Both will have a Wi-Fi, obviously Wi-Fi 6 on the Air, while the iPad does not have it. Bluetooth 5.0 on the Air, while the iPad will have 4.2 Bluetooth. That is absolutely interesting. Both will come with the new connection, USB Type-C, and both will come with a new wall charger at 21 watts. The Air will have no face recognition or Face ID, but it will come with a fingerprint scanner on the power button, and that is the same on the iPad. That is absolutely interesting. So the Air will come in different colors: space gray, silver, rose gold, green, and sky blue, while the iPad will come with its regular color: silver, gold, and space gray. The battery will be at non-removable on the Air is 28.5, while the iPad will come in 32.4, which means the iPad will most likely to have a longer battery life. And lastly, let's not forget about the design. All the design of these two iPads will look like the iPad Pro with its chamfered edges, no more curved back. Basically, it's like a slab. That's all it is. It's basically a slab. And before I forget, both will come with anti-reflective screen. That way, no more eye strain. So that is basically it for the specs of these two iPad. So as you can tell, so much goes into these iPad, and as I said it before, you don't need to buy these iPad if you already have one. Like if you have an iPad Pro, you don't need one. Many are touting the Air to be a lower spec iPad Pro. But do I think the same? No. I think that if you're gonna buy an iPad Pro, I believe that you should only get the 12-inch. That's it. And the regular iPad, well, it's absolutely overpriced based on the specs. But I will get to that later on my rant. Now, let's get on to the analysis. Certainly, if you already bought your iPad, especially during these pandemic times and school, you already started school, obviously, many people already started school. You don't need to buy a new one. You certainly don't. Not only that, I think that these iPad Pro will move more units if it was priced correctly. Not only that, if the storage option were much, much better. But nonetheless, this is Apple. This will certainly move units. Now, the question is, will the iPad be more prominent now with these new models? Meaning, will it have the same effect when it first came out? No, I don't think so. Because these new iPads is certainly not going to move the chain or not going to move the market share. It's pretty obvious that the iPad, when it comes to tablets, the iPad is much more, has more market share than any tablets, even from Android alone. Or any tablets. Basically, Apple got the whole market covered. But when we're talking about the iPad and the iPad Air, not the Pro, these will probably just maintain the market share. They're not gonna move the pendulum. Because many people would probably buy the iPad Pro based on the price, $750. I mean, crap, you might as well get the iPad Pro 10-inch. So, from a consumer standpoint, there's no point of them buying these new ones because, yeah, the design is slightly been revised, but nonetheless, it's absolutely disappointing. It's all right. It's basically a specification upgrade, internal upgrade. There may be some useful features such as the Touch ID, but again, going back to the cheapest iPad, I mean, it has Touch ID, it has the home button, which is quite useful, but Apple does not certainly think so. So in terms of the market itself, this will maintain the shares of the iPad, but it will not be a major move in the market share. Now let's get on to the rant. So the biggest one that I have is certainly the price. The Air, $600 for 64 gigs, and they're touting this as a mini Pro. 64 gigs is not even a lot. It certainly isn't. It just isn't. And then $750 for 256. Again, it's mind-boggling. There's no logic. The worst part about it is that the regular iPad still has 32 gigs. It still has 32 gigs. We are in the 2020, and here's another thing. The front-facing camera has 1.2 megapixels. I mean, people are using FaceTime. Why can't we just move it to at least a 1080p? Just make it 7 megapixels, same as the Air. I mean, why do we go through this? I mean, look, I'm gonna give where credits due. It finally has USB-C. It finally has more available colors. The Air has better CPU than the newer CPU. But the iPad still has the A12 Bionic CPU, which is really absolutely stupid. So I'm gonna give credit where it's due. The newer CPU, the change into USB Type C, finally. And so, I mean, I'm looking at it even from a parent standpoint. Why am I gonna buy this when I can just buy a cheaper previous model iPad? I mean, this does not make sense to you from a storage option, even the pricing wash. Heck, we all know that Apple do this, but you know what? Forget all of that. In the end, is this an update that you should be buying? No. And that is what disappoints about these new iPad, is that they did not even try. They could have at least done more, especially when tablets are basically non-existent, other than just staying at home and just playing games or watching videos in the toilet. But that's just me. So in conclusion, it's an evolutionary internal update to their current iPad lineup. Is it something to notice? Not really. If somehow these iPad go on sale at a lower price range, hey, maybe you should consider it. I won't lie, the Air is looking great. But at $750, if it was $500 at 256 gig of storage, why not? Why not? And so that basically concludes my thoughts, analysis, and rant on the 2020 Apple iPad Air and the Apple iPad. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.